Stack. High yields on stable coins, yeah, that's where my bag at. All I really need is Wi-Fi, getting money on DeFi, mega cash on MetaMask. You better run when the runners run, show you how to get your money up. Dollar inflated like bubble gum, markets are jumping like double dutch. Buying up gold till I get a ton, crypto, yeah, I got some. You better run when the runners run, you better run when the runners run.
All right, welcome into the show, everyone. You are running with the runners. It is Monday, March 13th. 2023. In the last week, we just saw 3 banks collapse before our very eyes. And as usual, the media is spreading propaganda. Tonight, we're going to tell you what is really going on, the real truth. As always, let me get my good brother in here, Ricardo Hamilton, aka Mims. Make it make sense. Bro, you got your job cut out for you tonight.
Man, I'm telling you, everything we've been saying is coming to fruition, and people starting to realize it. And this is why I told people I'd rather be 1 year, even 2 years too early than 1 day too late to the greatest wealth transfer in history. But we still got some time to get it right and watch this thing play out.
Yeah, I mean, so again, you know, most people have probably heard or have some clue of an idea that 3 banks have basically been taken over by the government. Tonight, we're going to explain why this happened, how it happened, and what this means for you. Mims, your hot take on this while I pull up our first clip.
Yeah. You know, folks, one thing that for us, it's not a surprise. We knew that this was coming. We just didn't know when. You might as well say it was a black swan event. And we didn't know the magnitude of it. But we always knew that the banks were insolvent, that bank runs are reality. There's nothing new under the sun. We're literally just repeating history, okay? But we're coming to a point where we are at a point of no return. There is no, 2008 sort of, or fix this, or, 1929, we just kind of roll over. We're literally, the dollar is losing its status internationally. The dollar will continue to lose its value and lose its world reserve currency status. We're watching it play out right now. And so it's important that people pay attention because the inflation is going to get worse. The economy is going to get worse. And we want to make sure that people at least can comprehend to the best of their ability what's going on and have some solutions that's going to allow them to hedge and diversify into real assets.
Yeah, and so here's the thing you guys got to understand first. Like we always say, you have to go against the grain. You have to do what the masses won't do. You cannot follow the sheep. You cannot follow the lemmings. You must go against the grain. So we're going to start off with supposedly the stock guru himself, Jim Cramer, telling people a month ago to buy SVB, the bank that started this collapse. So let's get into this. We'll kind of comment on it.
The 9th best performer year to date is SVB Financial. Don't yawn. This company's a merchant bank with a deposit base that Wall Street had been mistakenly concerned about. SVB, it's the old Silicon Valley Bank, recently bought one of our favorite research firms, Moffett-Nathanson, and it's become less dependent upon private equity and venture capitalist offerings. Wait a second. Those dried up last year, they could come back. Yeah, some of them come back here, but the stock directly affects an oversold position. Stock was the 4th worst performer in 2022. I think the fears were not justified, and it's a very compelling situation. Hey, by the way, long-term private equity and venture capital, they're not going away. Being the banker to these immense pools of capital has always been a very good business. Stock's still cheap. Let's start with Signature Bank. This is a New York-based commercial bank, but it's got...
Okay, so that was him talking about SVB, telling people he thought it was a good buy just a few months ago, or I think like a month ago. And now this is Signature, the 3rd bank that was brought down in the last week. And he's talking about it again, in underappreciated financials. Roll the tape.
36 private client offices sprinkled across the New York metro area, California, and North Carolina. The thing about Signature is that it's a business-oriented bank. And to the extent that they have a consumer business, it's focused on the wealthy, namely business owners and senior executives who do a lot of business. And you can make a lot of money working with them.
SVB is great. If that guy ever endorses anything you're doing, Move to the Canary Islands. Change your name because disaster's coming.
All right, Mims. Make it make sense there. You know, why do these so-called experts or talking heads, you know, they can't see the writing on the wall because they're just literally getting propaganda all day long from the establishment media.
Yeah, I mean that's essentially what it has become. There is no free market. Okay, there is no real breakdown or analysis of a company. Literally, people like Jim Cramer and CNBC are there to keep the illusion of what's going on in the economy and what's going on with the stocks. They already knew this stuff, but they try to get ahead of it because they believe if they can just manipulate the people's mindset or what they think about the company, that can actually change the dynamics or the variables or the books or financials that's going on with the company. And this is nothing new. I mean, in 2008 financial crisis, these were the same people who were saying, "Oh, the housing market is fine, triple A ratings," but they knew behind the scenes what were going on. But this has been a constant mechanism of Wall Street to fleece Main Street. The same thing we saw with Robinhood and Robinhood with the GameStop situation. They make sure that the wealthy, the 1%, the hedge funds come out on top. They already know the inside information, but they make sure that they spin a different narrative to mainstream because that is part of the confiscation of wealth mechanism. And so it's not a surprise. This is why we say whatever they say, do exactly the opposite. Jim Cramer says buy this stock. You probably should look at buying something else because they're using him to promote and prop up a company that's getting ready to fail, and they want you to buy into it and help probably maybe stabilize it or change the psychology around it when really they already know, that is failure. You can't trust anything you see or hear on mainstream media. It's all controlled by the major corporations. It's all controlled by small conglomerates, special interest groups that want to continue to fleece and manipulate you out of your wealth.
And hold on, we gotta give Mims to Don DeMarco there. So here's Jim Cramer's track record here. Okay, and what you guys have to understand here is the Federal Reserve and the government caused all of this. Okay, so you see here SVB's main increase was after 2020 when all the pandemic money flooded the market. So that's what the Fed does first. They flood the market with cheap, easy money. Okay, we see their stock go up over $600. Now, what this bank did and what most banks did is they bought long-term bonds with their customers' deposits. So we're going to shatter this whole myth that this was caused by crypto. No, the opposite. The mainstream banks and the Federal Reserve caused problems in crypto because of these banks and them being illiquid. All right. So I saw this a lot today of like, oh, these banks were in crypto and that's why they went, kaput. No, not at all. That's a narrative being pushed and there's no evidence that I've seen to back this up.
Yeah. And they knew that, cracks like this, the system would break somewhere. They don't know exactly where in the chain of the system that it's going to break, but they do know that their policies are going to cause a break somewhere. And so they knew that when they were suppressing and keeping interest rates artificially low for this long, they knew that it was going to create an environment of over leveraging, just maldistribution, allocation of funds and everything of this nature. And they just figured that, when it comes up, we'll be able to do something about it. Problem, reaction, solution. But it's all designed into one direction. It's all designed into one direction to confiscate your wealth, to make you dependent upon the system so you don't put yourself in position to be free and create generational wealth for you and your family.
And Sergio, you are correct. BTC went up, but we're going to explain to you guys why that happened and how you can profit from it. So Nick Carter on Twitter had some amazing threads today. And here's where it comes down to, guys, is this is called choke point. Operation Choke Point. It's what the Biden administration is doing right now to try to cut off crypto. So we're going to look at this here. But Barney Frank, if you don't know who he is, he's a U.S. senator. He wrote the Dodd-Frank bill, which is supposedly supposed to fix the 2008 financial crisis. He openly admits that Signature, the third bank that was taken over this week, was arbitrarily shut down despite no insolvency because regulators wanted to kill off the last major pro-crypto banks. Again, these banks didn't fail. because of crypto. They failed because they support crypto and the government went after them. For his part, Frank, who helped draft the landmark Dodd-Frank Act after the 2008 financial crisis, said there was no real objective reason that Signature had to be seized. I think part of what happened was that regulators wanted to send a very strong anti-crypto message. Frank said, we became the poster boy because there was no insolvency based on the fundamentals. Mims, there it is. U.S. Senator admitting the third bank that went down really had no major issues, and we're going to bring the facts here. He's just saying this is a warning shot to banks who deal in crypto because they threaten the government and the banks in legacy finance.
Yeah, and how you translate that is that this is an attack on people's freedom. This is an attack on the people's money. This is an attack on you and your ability to provide and have alternatives and options amidst the collapse of their debt-based fiat system and the loss of control that they have as they try to issue in a new system that's going to control you. But they can't control you and box you in if you have options, if you have alternatives that are decentralized outside of their control. So they're going to try to cut off any mechanisms that allow you to escape the matrix, okay, while trying to make it seem like you're crazy for trying to escape. Because they'll get on TV and tell you there's nothing wrong with our financial system. America's the strongest economy, and they'll tell you all this and that when the facts and the data actually show otherwise. They want to eliminate competition. That's what they've always done. Competition to them is sin, okay? That is literally how they operate. That's why, once again, the major food brands you buy in a grocery store, the things you see on the media, the things you read in the print, they're all controlled by 6 or so corporations, okay? There's no real diversity. And so they want to limit your options to be able to convert your wealth into something outside of something that allows them to have control. This is why they continue to manipulate and try to suppress gold and silver. This is why they continue to put out FUD and manipulate crypto and have a case against XRP, because they don't want you to wake up to the options that you have to take your wealth while you still have it, while it has some value, and convert it into something that's going to give you some options, that's going to give you some freedom, that's going to give you some liberty, because the system that they got designed for you is one of enslavement, 2.0, track and trace, know every single thing you do. You get out of line, we're going to cut you off. That is what they want with central bank digital currencies. And that's the number one thing that we want to fight against. The Federal Reserve is public enemy number one, and central bank digital currencies are a major weapon. If we ever let that happen, it'd be the worst thing that can happen to the people.
Correct. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. But right now, guys, if you're watching, give us the hashtag Silver for Freedom. Silver for Freedom. We've been saying this for years. Okay. Silver for Freedom is where it's at. So let's break down. I know this is a little hard to see, but this just kind of shows how fake this whole thing is. And it's really Operation Choke Point. I know this is a little difficult to see, but I'm going to tell you guys, Silicon Valley was the number one unrealized loss at about 80%. Number two, Ricardo, is Bank of America. And somebody posted on my timeline today of like, well, these are just small regional banks. When the big four are in trouble, let me know. Well, Bank of America has about a 50% unrealized loss. I can't read this third one. This one's USB. Then we have First Republic. Then Wells Fargo, a top four bank.
You froze up there, Mike. Oh, did we lose him? Is it me or did we lose you, Mike? Somebody please comment in the chat. Let us know. Did Mike freeze up and do you hear me? It looks like I'm good on my end. This was on my account. So we lost him. Okay. So while he come back on, probably having some internet. Can hear you. Okay. We have some internet connections. He'll probably get it back on, but I'm gonna keep the show going. So in this chart, what he's saying though is that people try to say like this is an isolated event. Folks, this is not an isolated event. You have to understand that all the banks and everything is interconnected. This is a global financial system. So when one person cannot pay, okay, when one person can't pay the other person, who can't pay the other person, who can't pay the other person, This is where literally all the banks are already insolvent. And then the thing with SBV, they try to say, well, they bought bonds, okay, and the bonds that they got aren't good anymore because of apparently where rates are right now. Well, all the banks did that. That's why you said, Chart, all the banks did that. You realize that the SVB didn't do anything different than the JP Morgan or Citigroup. They all sitting on these bonds, right? And so people start to realize, well, hold on. If they don't got my money and these people aren't getting their money to start their businesses or whatever have you, okay, then what other bank is not getting the money that they need? And so that's why it starts to run on the banks, because people were starting to figure out, well, who has the money? Because if this person ain't got the money to pay that person ain't got the money to pay, let me go get my money before nobody got no money. And that's that, right? And that's the run on the banks. But this is why we've been telling people, get your money out the banks. Look, there's no reason to have your money in the bank anyway. Why keep your money in the bank? They don't give you any interest on it. They're loaning out 100% of your money, okay? The money is losing value because of inflation. You're better off holding on to your cash somewhere where you put it. Because the bank ain't doing you no favors by holding on to the money, because when it's time for you to come get your money, okay, it's not there. I mean, I posted that video with Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy was like, man, I went to the bank to get 100,000. You only gave me 30. Make it make sense. Where's my money at? Right? And so now you have everybody like, well, hold on. Where's the money? Where's my money? I have millions of dollars in this bank. You don't have my money? And then now it's that contingent effect. So yeah, Mike, you're right. Where it's like, it's not just an isolated event where it's just this one bank and it's two banks. No, this is a dominoes effect. And just like 2008, everything is connected. All the banks are insolvent. Okay, the money's not there. This is why the Federal Reserve has constantly had to step in and be the buyer, okay, and the creditor of last resort. And that's why they had to step in now. But understand something, the Federal Reserve doesn't have it neither. They create value from nothing. The rest of the world is already hip to that. That's why governments and institutions around the world are de-dollarizing. That's why countries around the world are aligning themselves together against this dollar to do other forms of trade and commerce, okay, to make sure their economy makes it, okay? Because it's over. And everybody else sees it, but it's the American people, that's what they don't want to see it. They don't want you to run and start pulling out your money before they can take it from you, okay? Or roll you into a new system. So it's important that people get that.
And so what I wanted you guys to see here, Signature was less than 10% unrealized loss, okay? So why is it that they were targeted, all right? So we're going to kind of keep exploring this, okay? They gutted Signature so Biden admin could pin it on crypto tomorrow. The fix was in. Signature Bank was closed by the New York financial regulator on Sunday. Barney Frank of Dodd-Frank fame is on the board. He spoke to us to our story, which again comes from, that why regulators see Signature Bank in third biggest bank failure in U.S. history. And again, we showed you guys this from Barney Frank. I think part of what happened was regulators wanted to send a very strong anti-crypto message, said board member and former Congressman Barney Frank. And again, here's what I want to, understand that. So the Fed came in and said the government's bank deposit insurance fund will cover all deposits at the two banks rather than the standard $250,000. So if you have money in a bank under $250,000, supposedly the FDIC is supposed to insure that. Now, what they don't tell you is the FDIC only has 2 cents for every dollar they're supposed to be insuring.
They barely have it.
So 95% of the deposits in SVB were over $250,000 because they were dealing with, investment firms and Silicon Valley stuff. So the federal regulator said any losses to government's funds would be recovered in a special assessment on banks, and that the U.S. taxpayers wouldn't bear any losses. All right. Now, what this means, guys, okay, of course they're lying to you here. All this means is massive inflation. They're going to create more and more money. They basically just gave a hall pass to every single bank for any degenerate thing they're going to do. They're saying we're going to secure to the depositors and make them whole. I'm glad they're not bailing out the bank. Let's be clear here. Let's give them a little bit of credit. But this, to me, is stimulus all over again, Mims. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And when I look at it, to me, the Federal Reserve is just one big black hole.
Oh yeah.
It's just one big black hole. They're unauditable. Okay, so nobody can audit the Federal Reserve. So at this point, it's just like when some people say they try to scare people and say, "Oh, well, the U.S. government is going to default on the debt." The U.S. government will never default on the debt because they will always just be able to print more money. Okay, that's the beautiful thing that they have, where in this system they can just print and print and print and continue to print, and nobody can stop them. No, there's nothing that anybody can do, and that's what they're doing right now, and they're going to continue to do that because they want to keep the illusion alive. They want to keep it going until it serves them to hit the reset button, until they're ready for you. But once again, these are those wake up calls. This is that little, tremor, okay, before the big earthquake. This is that the smoke from the volcano and Pompeii before everything erupts. These are the last days of the Roman Empire collapsing. Okay, so while they still got you distracted with bread and circus, literally, okay, there's riots in the streets around the world in other countries because they can't get money out their ATMs or their money's no good. Okay, around the world, people are protesting and rioting. You won't see it. You got to be watching certain channels. You got to. I'm telling you, this is why they don't want people on TikTok. Okay, they're literally trying to take down TikTok because there are people out here putting information on TikTok, okay, in ways that you're not going to get on social media, on the regular channels, okay, even on the mainstream media. So it's really important that people really start to see the dynamics of what's taking place and understand that it's magnitudes worse. If they're gonna do this and they say we're gonna make sure all deposits funds are taken care of, they didn't even do that in 2008. Okay. That wasn't done in 2008. I think that this thing right here was probably like, literally a nuke going on in the financial system. It was over. They won't tell you how bad it was, but if they didn't step in and do what they did, the financial system would have closed. I mean, nobody would have been able to pull money out of any bank. Okay. Literally, it would have been a liquidity crisis, credit crunch, same thing as 2008, run on the banks. Everybody's been scrambling trying to get their money. So they had to do this, right? They had to do this. But understand that this is not a solution. This is not a solution. Okay. And so understand that all it is prolonging the inevitable. Okay. As opposed to letting the banks crash and let the system correct itself in 2008, they hypothecated and created even a worse bubble. It created a worse financial situation. So this what they did here, even though they say, yeah, it seems like relief and we're glad to hear it. People are supposedly going to have access to their funds and everything. It doesn't take away from the fact that this financial system is collapsing right before our eyes. Okay. And it's going to come to a point where you won't be able to pull out your money. It's going to come to a point where they're going to force you and convert you over to a CBDC, universal basic income. And the amount of currency that you have doesn't necessarily equate to 1-to-1 of their central bank digital currency. And folks, the rest of the world is already doing it. So the United States is behind in that sense. They're letting the rest of the world move forward, and then they're gonna kind of hop on from what I'm seeing, because trust and believe, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, okay, Iran, India, South Africa. I mean, these countries around the world and more. Okay, Mexico wants to join BRICS. Okay, like there is some real serious things going on, and understand that when nations start to collapse financially, they take you to war. Okay, that's why I've seen senators, congressmen saying that we're at war with China. They no longer pass a authorization from Congress to go to war now. We don't even do that anymore because it's not legitimate. It's all fraud. Anyway, so we at war with China over there in Taiwan. Okay, they're getting ready. Okay, everybody's getting ready for their push. Ukraine is losing. Okay, they losing that fight over there. Russia's winning. Okay, Xi Jinping, China, president of China, ushering deals, brokering peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. Okay, Saudi Arabia is now obviously considering doing business for oil and outside of the U.S. dollar. That's only going to accelerate, especially when you have movements like this. Okay, I see you. Just go by the internet. Just go. Yeah. So especially when you have events like this, okay, with the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government just going to continue to print money. So we got money we got money to bail out the banks now in the financial system, but we didn't have money for Ohio and one of the worst chemical spills, natural disasters in U.S. history. Okay, well that gets swept under the rug now. Okay, so there's always we go from one crisis to the next. If you don't notice, it's just one big thing to the next. It seems like everything it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and at some point, okay, that's it. But these were the warning signs. These were the signs. These are the things that should wake you up to say, hold on, we are not in normal times. This is not just the normal way society is supposed to function. These are some chaotic, uncertain, dangerous times that we're in. And it's important that you and those who are awake do the right things with your time and your money and your resources. So, and I see Mike said Mike has some internet connection issues. And so he had the slides that we are going to pull up. But when I look at what's going on with this banking system and what's going on with people realizing that their money is not in the bank, it's really important that people start to save their money in physical gold and silver. Okay, those are the only people who are going to have money at the end of the day. Because understand that is the real money. All right. Even when we look at internationally, we're seeing central banks and we're seeing governments around the world, they are backing their currencies by gold. They're buying more gold than they ever have in any time period in history. Russia has already partially backed their currency by gold. I think it's 5,000 of the rubles equals a gram of gold. So understand that's why we see gold rising. This is the times where you hold gold and silver during times of financial crisis and inflation. That's what it's for. It's not investment. It's about hedging, diversifying for financial crisis and inflation. It's like having insurance. You need insurance on your money. Okay. And so, these times that we're in are very, very critical to wake up. The warning signs are there. These banks are insolvent. The Federal Reserve just printed money out of nowhere. The US government doesn't have the money. Okay. And it's interesting because you saw at first they said Janet Yellen said that they weren't going to bail out. They weren't going to bail out. The Treasury said, hey, no, there'll be no bailout for these banks. And then literally less than 24 hours, they flipped. Okay, they flipped. And the reason is because the magnitude of what this was, okay, was greater than 2008. There was no option. Okay. We're just going to cover the USDC being depegged and then get into nodes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Give me some kind of trajectory there, Mike. Appreciate you. But yeah, there was no, see, we don't get on Monday, they had an emergency meeting at the Federal Reserve. Okay. They haven't done that since the pandemic. Okay. That's how critical this event was. And then you see what came up out of that. Okay. But they had an emergency meeting. Okay. People on the weekend were outside in lines you ain't see that in a long time. Okay. People were in lines outside of SVB Bank trying to get their money. Okay. So this was literally probably one of the worst events financially that just happened that they kind of, put off with these actions that they've done. And, there are ramifications taking place right now. It's very important that you stay up to date as best as you can, especially if you're in crypto, because we're seeing that certain stable coins start to depeg. Okay, USDC, and we're seeing Binance moving some of its stable coin into Bitcoin, Ethereum. There are a lot of chess pieces and a lot of things moving right now. And you want to make sure that you're abreast and as well diversified as possible. Because nobody knows, for sure how this thing is going to look on the other side. Okay, what's going to make it, what's not going to make it, and that's why you want to be diversified and making sure that you're up to date on the latest developments of what's going on. Because there is, we talk about the crisis, and it's not like doom and gloom. It's just facts of what's going on, but there's a major opportunity here at the same time. And that's what we get excited about. So when we say, look, you need to go to silver because there's an opportunity to create wealth for yourself, to preserve your financial future, to make sure that you're not subject to the circumstances and events that are getting ready to unfold that you had no control over. Because you have people that are making plans for you and your financial future and your family and how you're going to live, and they didn't include you on it. And in fact, the plans that they got for you, you don't want no parts of it. But you just don't know what's going on because most people when Joe Biden gets on stage and Joe Biden says, and this is when everybody should know, okay? Joe Biden get up there and tell you that the banking system is fine and it's sound. Oh, there's a problem, okay? you should know there's a problem. All right. Because as far as I'm concerned, this presidency hasn't got anything right since it entered the presidency, starting with Iraq and how we left Afghanistan. I mean, right, and everything else. We see what's going on. Okay, we know there's some corruption there. We know they don't know what they're doing. Right. So anytime they tell you the banking system is fine and your money is safe and this and that, yeah, you better start having some emergency cash that you can put your hands on. Okay. Um and just be prepared, man. These people don't care about you. I'm just telling you right now. If you think Joe Biden gonna come save you, we say it all the time, but people got to hear it over and over. Joe Biden is not coming to save you. Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, okay, Donald Trump, whoever you think, the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, okay, these people are not coming to save you. They're not. Okay? They're there to serve their special interests. They're there to serve their shareholders. They're there to serve themselves. They're not serving the people. If you ain't figured that out by now, I don't know, what it is. You just blind and you ain't gonna ever be able to see at this point because it's so obvious, it's so blatant, it's so disgusting and disrespectful. It's just egregious what's taking place, and we're watching to see it unfold right before our eyes. And the masses of people, a lot of people still just are kind of asleep and have no idea what's going on. So, you don't know if I'm gonna that swipe card coming up this week, no releases. Yeah. So, this is why we get excited, folks. I mean, because like we talk about, there's a crisis and there's an opportunity. And so one of the things that we try to do is we try to help people grasp the magnitude of what's going on in the global economy, give them a little more insight, articulate a little better, help them comprehend on, really what just went down, give them some information that they haven't heard, in a perspective that they're not aware of what's going on and the dynamics of it, so they can make the wise decisions for themselves. You know what I mean? So they can decide, maybe it is a good idea that I maybe take that money out the savings account at the bank because they ain't giving me no interest and put it into gold. Maybe it is a good idea that I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars just sitting in my checking account. Maybe I should pull a couple thousand on the side just in case there's a shock to the financial system and the ATMs don't work, or it's a whole month I'm unable to access my cash. Nobody knows, right? And so, this is why we get excited when we look at what's going on in the global economy. The wealthy do certain things with their time. The wealthy do certain things with their money, and that's why they continue to stay wealthy and they continue to have time and freedom. Okay, and so some of those things, that the wealthy do is they take their dollars, okay, while they have value, and they put them to work for them. Okay, not only do they take their dollars while they have value and they put them to work for them, but they take their dollars and they convert them into assets, into commodities, into technology and resources, right? And so we always get excited because if you're running with the runners, we found one of the best companies in the blockchain space. And let me tell you like this: there was a dot-com bubble, okay, and there was companies that came out of the dot-com bubble, okay, that are household names now that have revolutionary technology that's changed the world and created untold millionaires. Well, on the blockchain, okay, right now there are companies on the blockchain, okay, that have revolutionary technology that are creating thousands of millionaires that are already starting to become a household name and break through and break records in this blockchain and crypto space. And one of those companies called the Debt Box, and dealing with these nodes and these commodities that we've been talking about. This is the time to diversify into blockchain and crypto projects that are into the assets that help fuel the global economy. There is no global economy without oil. There is no global economy without natural gas and these rare earth minerals and commodities and resources, right? And so now when you have a company that has some technology that's revolutionary, first of its kind, that allows them to find these critical elements to the global economy, and they're putting you in position to be able to benefit from the royalty check that they're getting from these commodities on a monthly basis, tens of millions of dollars and more, okay, on the blockchain. This is something that gets us really excited because we know that we are living in the largest wealth transfer in history. We know that it is a global reset taking place. We know that blockchain isn't going anywhere. And we know that these commodities will always have a market, always be liquidity there. There's always going to be a need for oil. So if you can put yourself in position to get paid from oil, that's a wise decision. That's a wealthy decision. Okay. And so one of the things that we get excited about, in addition to this commodities and nodes that we have on the blockchain with the debt box, we have a debit card coming out. Okay, coming out this week, from what I understand, and that's fire. This debit card, because since we're in crypto, imagine now the banks just went down, and let's say a lot of people at the SVB bank, let's say some of them were a part of the debt box, and they had the debt uh, debit card that we have coming out. Well, that debit card is tied to the Royal Bank of Scotland. It's not tied to a U.S. banking institution. That debit card that's coming out with the debt box, okay, is tied to the Royal Bank of Scotland. So when we talk about diversifying, we talk about hedging, and anybody will tell you, okay, if you have money, you never want to have more than $250,000 in one bank account anyway, okay? Because obviously the rest of your funds over 250,000 aren't insured. So why would you leave yourself up and open to that risk and exposure of not being able to get your funds if something happens to the bank, right? You're not running the bank. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? Why put yourself at that risk and exposure? So most people tell you, hey, have multiple bank accounts, okay? And don't put no more than $250,000 in multiple bank accounts, right? Well, why would you not want to have a bank account outside of the United States? Why not have a bank account with the Royal Bank of Scotland? Why not have a debt box debit card where you can actually send, wire transfer some of your funds from your bank to your Royal Bank of Scotland account that has a MasterCard tied to it that allows you to easily interact into the crypto space? I'm talking about buying crypto, selling crypto, spending crypto. These are some of the dynamics that's coming in the next couple days here that we're going to have with this debit card. Okay, and so that really gets me fired up and excited because I love options, and especially if I can have some options outside of the system. Okay, outside of the U.S. banking system, like with the Royal Bank of Scotland, I can move funds there, and I can swipe my crypto debit card. Okay, Mastercard. All right, and be able to spend my cryptocurrency that I'm mining every single day. I'm mining cryptocurrency backed by commodities, and I can just press a couple buttons, and then that money is on my card, and I can swipe and spend. Talk about limiting yourself from the risk and exposure to the banking system. People right now didn't over the weekend didn't have access to their money. They did not have access to their money. Okay, so that's why we say saving gold and silver because you have options. This is why we say you need to have a node. You need to get with the debt box. You want to get one of them debit cards so you can have some options, right? Because that's going to be critical. That's going to make the difference for a lot of people who are going to be out in the streets and upset and rioting versus the person who's able to buy that plane ticket if they need to. Okay. Um. So we get excited. We get excited when we got a real company on the blockchain that's solving real world challenges and problems, bringing real world solutions with real world technology, and we have a node, okay, that's backed by the credit card fees as well coming out. That's called Swipe. And from my understanding, that's going to be out April 3rd. Okay. It's going to be out April 3rd. April 3rd, we should be able to take advantage of a node that is benefiting from the fees that happen in the transactions on that MasterCard. Okay. That's fire. That is phenomenal. All right. Because we got a lot of people who are making a lot of money, okay, in this ecosystem, and we got a lot of people who are just going to want to join. Do you understand what I just told you? That that Mastercard is tied to the Royal Bank of Scotland. Even if people are not in the debt box, they should have that Mastercard. Especially what you see is going on in this bank. So if you in debt box, IX Global, look, everybody needs one of these cards. Okay, everybody needs some of these nodes. Everybody needs what we got, especially what's going on right now. You'd be crazy not to. Okay, you'd be crazy not to. So, um, let me say I'm ready to CC, especially since I won't write anymore. Yep, yeah, yep, and that's gonna help us with our options, be able to buy nodes and moving money around. Folks, it's getting really exciting, and one thing about the Debtbox team is that they do know what they're doing. They're geniuses. The owners have been mining Bitcoin since it was around $100. They've been in the real estate and commodity industry for decades, for a very long time. Okay, they know what they're doing. They're making the right connections, and a lot of people, when I talk to them, they say, "How are they moving so fast? How are they able to just get all this done so fast?" Folks really don't understand. this company's moving at light speed. I haven't seen a company that has moved at the rate of speed that this company has, that has had the type of growth that they have, the excitement, the community, the authenticity and the integrity. I haven't been a part of some this big, this huge. That technology that they have, that they had it certified by the Ghanaian government. It's real technology, it's certified. I mean, it's huge when you got governments wanting to partner with you to use your technology, and us being able to benefit from the royalty check that comes from that scanning technology, folks. So this is huge. I definitely honestly believe the debt box is going to be one of the top easily top 100 coin market cap. Already is. I said top. Look, I would try to be modest, folks. If you really look at the market cap of some of our projects already, they're already top 25 if they were listed on coin market cap, just based on market cap. And understand something, the difference between our project is there's no hype, hope, and speculation to a degree. And what I mean by that is the liquidity is not coming from people. The liquidity is not coming from, we're selling nodes and they're taking the money to buy the coins and add value to the coins. No, that's not what's going on here, folks. What's going on here is that this company has real world oil that they're selling around the world, real world natural gas that they're selling around the world, real world aluminum that they're selling around the world, real world agriculture that they sell around the world. And that money, that royalty check that they're getting, they're putting into a trust. It's tied to a smart contract that has one purpose, which is to buy the tokens that we are mining. See, that is the market. There will always be buyers. There will always be a market for these tokens. Doesn't matter if there's a bear market or a bull market. Why? Because the buyer is that royalty check. The buyer is that trust. And that is growing. Okay. That is growing. And when you look at the dynamics that are going on with inflation, and who knows what the price of these commodities are going to be. And there's a lot of, if you ask me, the wind is at our backs, being in commodities and blockchain, this company having this technology. And folks, I'm telling you right now, there are governments that are trying to reach out to the debt box team. Okay, because they want to do business with them. Okay. I ain't talking about just in Africa neither. I know of other governments around the world that are trying to reach out to the debt box team right now so they could partner with them. Okay. So they can be able to, so the debt box can use that technology and provide some of the efficiencies and be able to benefit from the royalty check, the debt box and benefit from the royalty check and all that. Folks, it's huge. It's dynamic. Okay. So we fired up. We fired up, and it just doesn't stop, man. It just doesn't stop. It feels good when you know that you're in the right place ahead of time. You're in the right assets ahead of time. Yeah, and we get paid when we spend. You know what I mean? Like that's with that MasterCard, I'm gonna get paid from my own fees. Ask yourself right now, when you go swipe your card today, you swiped your card probably, or yesterday, or sometime this week. I don't care what card it is. Did you get paid from that swipe? I don't care if it was a penny. Did you get paid? The answer is no, you didn't get paid. But now we have the ability to get paid from our own swipes and from the swipes of our community, who's making millions of dollars, by the way. People making thousands, hundreds, millions of dollars, and it's growing. Okay. So we're gonna have the debit card, I believe this week. We should hear some information. And I believe we might have another node coming out as well. And then swipe should be either another node coming out or some upgrades on a particular node. I'm not sure. We're waiting to see. But I know it's going to be good stuff. I know it's going to be good stuff. And then we have April 3rd. Okay, we're going to have swipe coming out. So look, one thing about these nodes, folks, and let me say this, is that these nodes are undervalued assets. These tokens are undervalued assets. And that's why this company is doing $100 million, $200 million in a few weeks when they're launching new nodes now. I mean, we a lot of people already know what Bev and Blocks has done, and now these nodes are almost sold out. Okay, people are looking for real passive ways to make additional income out here with real solid projects. All right, and so these nodes are going up in prices. Okay, the prices are increasing. I have somebody, a friend around the way, and he told his friend about the nodes, and his friend was interested, but time waits for no man. He procrastinated, and the nodes that we are paying $1,000 for, they done went up to $3,000. Okay. He's like, oh, now he's somewhat priced out. He might gotta wait for another opportunity. So do understand that these nodes are assets. And for these nodes to sell out like that, you understand something, that when these nodes sell out, they turn into NFTs. Okay. When every single node is sold out of any given project in about 90 days or so, okay, you're able to sell them. There'll be an NFT. You're able to sell them on OpenSea or put them out on the open market, whatever you want to put them, and you put your own price on them. But I don't know anybody who gonna sell a node for less than what they bought it for. I don't know anybody who gonna sell a node at the wholesale price, okay, when they know the retail price. Okay. These tokens, anybody who understands the tokenomics, some people say, well, why are the prices of the tokens going down? These same people, I hope you understand, and keep remember how you feel when you're saying that, when these price tokens really start to skyrocket and go off. Because when they do, they take off. Me and Mike, when we got in, we've seen a couple of these tokens go up 200-300%. We saw debt go from $10 to $40. I mean, these happenings that take place are phenomenal. Okay, and that's why a lot of people are excited about Bev node with the quarterlings. Okay, the tokenomics, that the strategic tax, where they're burning 100% of the tax. OMG! You see the debt box. They want you to get rich. They want you to make money. Actually, in fact, that's one of I believe it was Jason Anderson. Mike, you gotta remind me, what was it? He wanted to create how many millionaires? Okay, like this is just a goal. A goal. I want to create millionaires. That's the goal. And so when you're looking at the tokenomics, when you're looking at the halvening, okay, when you look at the royalty checks that are coming in from this project, and then you understand the tokenomics, the constant reduction in supply of these tokens, and then the constant liquidity of the market that's coming to buy these tokens regardless. You see, these tokens not being bought up based off of emotions and feelings. Well, how do I feel about buying that G? No. The royalty check goes to a trust, okay, and it's gonna buy. No matter, ain't no feelings about it. Okay, ain't no feelings about it. It's a smart contract. It's automatic. Okay, and so yeah, the prices are down now. And guess what? While these prices are down, because people are selling, okay, that's the only way the price goes down. You have to understand that. Why are the prices going down? Because people selling. Why are people selling? Guess they need money. But guess what? When the price goes down, when they take that royalty check and they're buying these tokens at a lower price, listen, you want the price to go down. See, people don't realize that. This is it's like a little Jedi mind trick with this project, okay? You want the price to go down. And that's going to sound crazy. Why am I saying that? Because every single month there's tens of millions of dollars coming in to buy these tokens. And the lower the price of the project, the more tokens that they're gonna have. Okay. And the billions more tokens that they have, they're taking those tokens and they're getting rid of them. They're burning them, reducing the supply of tokens in circulation. So once again, this is super deflationary. And once you understand, when the laws of supply and demand, this is laws of supply and demand. Okay, this ain't no hype, hope, speculation. The laws of supply and demand is the laws of supply and demand, right? If the supply is constantly reducing and the demand, which the market demand is going to be there, because remember, the demand is not coming from a bull market. It's not coming from some major crypto influencer, crypto people. No, the market is coming from the commodities, the royalty check. As long as you believe that there's going to be a demand for these commodities that run the global economy, there's always going to be a market. There's always going to be a buyer for these tokens. And as many tokens as they take out of circulation, okay, that is a mechanism that creates that rise in potential in these tokens that gets us all excited and fired up about it. So it does take time. It takes time to, bring the resources to the market and sell them and get that royalty check. But the point is, know that you have something of value, right? Know that you're in something where you ain't worried about, this is a fair launch project. There is no developers holding millions of coins. There is no CEOs holding millions of coins. There was no ICO. Okay, you're dealing with a real solid project, so you ain't got to worry about a rug pull. You don't gotta worry about you're not being able to pull money out your wallet. Okay, it's decentralized. You're gonna get your private keys, and in crypto, what do we say? Not your keys, not your crypto. Okay. Same thing about gold and silver. What do we say? If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Okay. So it's important that people kind of just grasp the magnitude of it. Be a little patient. This ain't no get rich quick scheme. Some people haven't even been in the company a year and wondering why the price they ain't a millionaire yet. Okay. This project is Create Millionaires. It's very exciting, but let the system work. Okay. Trust the process. Know that they have something real. Know that they're doing something real. This is why me and Mike went to Ghana. Right? It was no way. I couldn't. I have to go to the events. I have to see. I have to know that it's real. Okay. Because I know people listen to me. And I know I'm passionate when I see something and I was like, okay, there's some real value here. And so when we went to Ghana and we go get to see, okay, well, we saw the projects and meeting the team and getting the idea, heart and mind of the team of this US based company, by the way, US based company, okay, that got us fired up. When we see Travis and them going to the oil wells in Nebraska, that got us fired up. Shout out everybody who's coming to New Orleans, right? I think it's New Orleans, right? We're going to New Orleans, right, Mike? We're going to the Bev facility, right? I mean, to see the real bottling and distribution facility, to see those QR codes in the back of the bottles, to know that that's going to be shipped out, to know that you have something of real value. People love to see product, right? People love to see product. Okay. So when you show people, look, I'm getting paid from this bottle. Okay. When you show people, look, this is my MasterCard, I'm getting paid from my own swipes. Well, what is this? You know what I mean? That should make people question, right? Um, so yeah, so the DLG migration. Yep, I think we're gonna hear something about that. I'm excited about DLG. Look, DLG's I think a lot of people, this is the thing. We spent some time with Jason. And I love I love everybody on the Dexbox team. All the fellas and Jason. He's a good guy. I'm telling you. And I see him on stage, or when I see him, he just has his look, and he'll just say, "Look, you guys have no idea what you got your hands on." And I could just pick up, and I see the way he says it is huge, folks, because um they have relationships, they have been doing things for some time, they have connections, there's some built up and pent up activity that has been taking place. This is not a new project. It's not just some overnight thing and we're trying to make deals and we're trying to figure stuff out and we're trying to make connections. No, this has been something that came to fruition, but it's been in development for a very long time. Okay. And so DLG, when we was in Ghana, when we show you guys that scan of the gold, okay, in Ghana, okay, and when they tell you that they got gold in a safe and it, folks. So yeah, the DLG migration is gonna be huge. Most people have no idea. Look, if you don't got a DLG node, you might want to get one because it might come to a point where you might not be able to get one. Okay. So only 200 Bev nodes left, right? Okay, only 200. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, just to understand, we're talking about 150,000 nodes. Okay. But anyways, only 200 nodes left. Okay. So if you don't got a Bev node, you better get one. If you feel like you don't got enough, you better get another one. Okay. Because once again, once these nodes are sold out, they're gone. That's it. Ain't no more nodes. They're gone. Okay. It's for that particular project or commodity. Now, the only way you're going to be able to get that node is on the secondary market. And once again, you're probably going to pay significantly more. And that's if somebody's willing to sell. I don't know who, unless somebody bought extra nodes just to sell, to try to make a little more money, then, that might be a thing. But I don't know anybody who would sell so early an income producing asset that hasn't even reached its maturity yet. It's like, it's like selling part of your legacy. Yeah, 10,000 millionaires, easy. Easy. Are the Bev nodes sold out? No, 200 left. Yeah, Jedi mind trick, brother. I'm just looking at the comments here. Look at BTC a week ago. BTC was around 1,900. It's 24K. It's 19,000. 24K. Who missed the blessing, right? I bought another. Mike said he bought another Bev node 2 days ago. Congratulations, Mike. What are the price at them now? I have to check the back office. DLG was my first node. All right, congratulations, Brian. Congratulations on that. David, I see you, brother. Yeah, so look, folks. Look, we appreciate you guys hopping on the stream. Fortunately, Mike has some technical difficulties. But it's critical right now. $2,100 for the Bev node. Thank you, Mike. And $2,000 for the blocks. Those are the current prices. Okay, if you want to get the blocks node, which blocks is almost going to sell out too. But this is the time, folks. This is the time to just double down on yourself. Double down on what you know. Double down on what you're seeing. Like, you're seeing the real deal happen right now before your eyes. Get you some more assets. Get you some more assets. Help other people get more assets. Okay? Because I'm gonna tell you one thing. If you're the only one in your circle who getting these assets, a lot of people gonna become look to you. Okay. So make sure you take care of your people. With that being said, look, this the largest wealth transfer in history. This is an opportunity to make sure a wealthy family come from you, even if you didn't come from a wealthy family. Look, run with the runners, lace up, let's get wealthy. Ricardo Hamilton, Crypto Rick, Mims, making it make sense. We out. Mike, hit my intro, my exit. You see, Mike, I don't even know if he can do that. Have a good night, everybody. We're gonna catch you guys on the next live stream. We definitely probably might do an update tomorrow, based on the market conditions and what we're hearing. It's still gonna be an interesting week, closing out March and going into April. So we're definitely gonna try to keep you abreast, especially to major developments that come out. Everybody have a good night. See you tomorrow. Peace.